if you're looking for a quiet place to have your lunch, I'm afraid you're in the wrong place. But if you're here for a lunch and learn, you're in the right place. So for the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to talk about product. And specifically, we're going to talk about a new product that TechnoMile has introduced called Potential Opportunities. But first, a little bit about me, a little bit about him. My name is Steve Koester. I'm the product manager for GovSearchAI. I put together the Potential Opportunities tool with the help of Kevin Brancato, SVP of Product at TechnoMile. So if we can go ahead and switch over to my screen at this point, please. I was told to just jump right into it because I think that's a lot more interesting than looking at slides. So before I start talking about what's actually here, let's talk a little bit about pipeline management. There's a lot of ways you can do this, right? There's a lot of ways you are doing this if you're working in this space. And a lot of those ways are probably manual, I'm assuming. Or if you're using another tool, there's a lot of build-up you have to do to get this thing to work. It's a huge hassle. There's a lot of sources out there that you're leveraging. And yet, at the same time, you don't want to miss things. You don't want to miss things, but you want to know what the most important things are. This is the conflict. This is what's always at odds. And so we wanted to put together a tool that, with minimal effort on your part, you can just jump right in here and immediately get really good opportunities. So that's what we're looking at here. This is what we built. So again, this is called Potential Opportunities. If you are currently a growth customer of ours on either Salesforce or Dynamics, or if you have the GovSearchAI portal as a standalone product, you already have this. This was already released. So hopefully this looks at least a little bit familiar to you, but just for some orientation, it's going to live up here on this top ribbon within the GovSearchAI portal under its own thing called Potential Opportunities. And so what can you expect to see when you come here? So again, the goal is, the first time you come here, this is going to be pre-populated with a list of relevant and interesting opportunities for you to look at. And how do we do this? What's the rationale here, right? I mean, we're not spying on you or anything. We have no idea, what sorts of things that you like, except that we actually have a pretty good idea of the kinds of things that your company likes. GovSearchAI, of course, has a great deal of data on past performance of various companies. We know, the character of your wins, the agencies that you've won work from, the contract vehicles that you're on, the NICs and product service codes, your set-asides, everything that is a criterion for you in deciding what's important, we've tried to factor in here. And so the very first time that you come here, you are going to be delivered a list of opportunities that are a good fit for your company. And not only that, these opportunities are going to be ranked by their relevance, again, using many of the factors and more that I just discussed. So the idea here is each one of these cards is going to represent an opportunity. And, well, what is an opportunity? I think is a pretty fair question. So right now, we're going to have all manner of recompete opportunities, single, multiple award IDIQs, definitive contracts, task orders, runs the gamut. As far as stuff that's pre-award, right now we're going to have RFIs and RFPs from sam.gov, but there's more coming in that regard. We're really just getting started here. So pretty soon we're going to start rolling on forecasts as well, acquisition forecasts, and we're, as part of our task order management product that we're also developing, we want to be able to show you your task orders as they're released by the government, as you're ingesting them using our task order management product. We want to be able to show you these in here as well with the same filtering and sorting capabilities. All of your opportunities in one place. Did you want to add anything in that regard, Kevin?
So many of you will have different IDIQs as you come to TechnoMile. And so your list will show the task order RFX that you have for your company. And we'll actually be able to show them in this list, organized with the relevant score on them. So you see right now, I know it's hard to see, it's a little bit of an eye here from the distance, the solicitations and recompetes on the left side. The task orders will live right there as an opportunity type. and the ones that you have available to you will show right there. So that task order management, that universal task order management, which is going to pull in information from your emails or from portal IDIQs, will live right there. But the point is, when I talked about earlier a single stream, that's what I meant, an actual single stream of opportunities where you have the publicly available information in the single view with the task order RFIs and RFPs and RFQs that you would get inside of this one single potential opportunity screen.
So we've talked a little bit about the content that's here. We talked a little bit about where to find this. So how does this actually work? What is the workflow here? That's the critical component. Well, as you can see, each one of these cards, again, represents an individual opportunity. We've included some information on here, and it's the information that we believe is the most critical for making a decision on yes, no, on an opportunity. Is this relevant? Is this not relevant? Yes or no? And the workflow that you can follow here is that, for example, oh man, let's say we're interested in Hellfires. What you can do is you can thumbs up an opportunity. And what it's going to do is that for those of you who are, again, familiar with TechnoMile growth, you may have heard of our Spark object. Thumbs up sends an opportunity to Spark. Then back in your growth instance, you're able to promote this into a full opportunity. So again, you can think of this process as sort of like collecting your leads, in a sense. You thumb something up, you decide, you know what, based on the information that's provided to me, this is a pretty good lead, let's add it to the pipeline. What if you don't like something? What if we deliver you something that's just blatantly not a great fit? You can choose to hide it from your feed. This is something you are doing as an individual, so you're not hiding things for your company, you don't have to worry about that. But again, you can go through this list, thumbs up, thumbs down things, as you please. Something else interesting to note here, by the way, is that you're not limited to just seeing what's on the actual opportunity cards. Of course, there's a lot more information that GovSearchAI offers. Again, we're just showing you the things that are the most relevant because, quite frankly, the cards have to be a certain size to fit on your screen. But what if you wanted to look into one of these things in a little bit more depth? Let's say we're interested in this SE&I contract here. You could just click on it. It's going to open up, and it'll show you what this thing is. This is an award. It's won by BAE. It's for $1.7 billion. And there's a lot more information here on the specifics of the recompete, right? The procedures, the set-aside type, the extent competed, the summary of what it is, as well as subcontracting details for this particular award. You can see who the subcontractors were on this, how many awards they won, the obligations on those. There's a huge depth of information you can find just by a few clicks. I'm not going to go too far down that rabbit hole because I only have 30 minutes and I could take 2 hours on that. But the other thing to point out here as well is that for any of these recompete efforts, there of course has to be a customer and there has to be an incumbent. Again, for each one of those, you'll be able to find that information hyperlinked right here, and again, leverage GovSearchAI directly to go see information on who's the customer, right? In this case, Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center. You can see we have a lot of detailed information on what's going on with this customer in particular if you want to do an assessment just on the spot, right? Who are their top vendors? How much money are they spending? What sorts of NAICS codes are they spending money in? Which sorts of contract vehicles are they utilizing for their acquisitions of goods and services? What are their IDV contracts that they've let? What about task orders and definitive contracts, things like that? And then this is a very interesting piece that I wanted to call out, was just the contact side. So on this tab here, we're actually going to show you the agency hierarchy. This is a human curated agency hierarchy by our GovSearch team for this particular office. And you can flip the switch here to see all of the folks who are actually working within this particular customer office. And let's say that we're interested in talking to John here, who's the PEO for nuclear air delivery. We can go ahead and click through and see even more detail on this guy. So in addition to his contact details, we can see his full experience, his career in the Air Force, education, as well as, I skip ahead over here to position info. You can see who previously held his position. And in the center here is going to talk about, again, reminding you, contextualizing, where does this person lie in the hierarchy and who else is within their particular office adjacent to them. So now I'm going to reel it back in. We've gone down a bit of a rabbit hole on that.
Can I interrupt you a second?
Oh, absolutely.
So what Steve showed you before, he showed you the thumbs up, thumbs down. So right now, what this is doing is either saying, I'm going to add this to Spark as a lead, or I'm going to hide it because I never want to see it again. It's not an opportunity I'm going to pursue. But we perceive this in the future as how we're going to personalize, not from a search from your company, but as an individual. So one of the many things we want to be able to do is thumbs up, you like it, see more like this, thumbs down, you don't. Again, that's not functional immediately, but we are retaining this this history so we can actually serve our individual clients better as you move forward. Because yes, we have a good relevance score for your company, but we want relevance for the individual. And so we're trying to figure out how to incorporate that information to get a more personalized recommendation going forward.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kevin. So that covers kind of the main workflow. The next thing I want to talk about actually is some of the more interesting things that you'll see as part of the UI here. These are thoughtful elements that we tried to incorporate to make this as easy to use as possible. So here on the left side, you'll see these filters. What are these? Is this like the primary way of necking things down? Well, not exactly. I'm going to ask a funny question here. So raise your hand if you've ever booked a flight, bought anything online, use those kinds of websites that have like filters on the side. Yeah, I see a few hands raised. We wanted to kind of invoke that same design language here because it's actually really good. You are effectively kind of shopping for your opportunities, right? And so we can use similar sorts of filters, or for Power BI folks, slicers, in this context, and it works in the exact same way. A temporary view, drilling down into the data increasingly without having to affect your sort of top-level list. For example, you can filter down just immediately by the type of opportunity that you want to see at a glance. One of the more interesting ones here is you can filter down by my contract vehicles. This is going to be specific to your company because, again, we're tailoring this to your company. We know what contract vehicles you're on. We can just click into the my contract vehicles, and this will tailor it down to only task orders that are expiring recompetes on your contract vehicles. You can also filter this down in many other ways. You can filter it down by a particular customer office. And because we don't want to show an entire 13-level hierarchy in here, again, we're showing you the top level, the agency, and then the specific customer office, which may be several levels down. This is, we think, the most rational way of helping you summarize what you can see here. I should explain, by the way, what the numbers mean. The numbers indicate the number of results that you're going to get if you click on this option. And these change dynamically, as do many of the other options here. It's pretty interesting because what it allows you to infer is the amount of results that you'll get from clicking the button, and also what matches a certain criteria. You can also do the same thing with acquisition timeline, set aside. And by the way, there is an option for no set aside for folks who are only interested in full and open opportunities, and NAICS and product service code. And again, these are going to be dynamically generated options based on what's in the list. I don't want to show you every single possible NAICS. I only want to show you the NAICS that are actually within this set of results. Everything else is irrelevant. So, I should mention, by the way, I kind of skipped over this earlier, but you may have noticed when I was talking about the thumbs up, I mentioned it can add things to Spark. Well, there's the and follow that's part of this as well. So what this is going to do, this is coming very soon, is that you'll be able to actually follow a particular opportunity at will. So when you click this button, it's going to do two things. Again, it's going to send this opportunity to your Spark and TechnoMile growth, and it's going to set you up for email alerts on this particular opportunity, right? Because you probably want to know when something changes. You want to know, have the dates shifted? Has more money been obligated? Be kind of ludicrous, but has the NAICS code changed? Like, you want to know these things because they're important, and we want to be able to tell you those things. So that's an improvement that's not there today, that's coming very soon. The next thing I wanted to touch on is going to be this piece up here. This is the advanced search and alert. So how does this work? So this is for actually a lot of different use cases. A lot of you are working for larger companies or for smaller companies. And in both of those cases, you would have pretty good motivation to want to deviate from sort of the company baseline as we see it. So again, remember that what we're trying to give you is a very good fit without having to mess with it. But, again, for those of you at a smaller company, you may find that, well, we don't have a lot of past performance. There's not actually that much to inform these recommendations. So we want to expand out the recommendations. We want to be recommended more agencies, more NAICS and product service codes that we wish to expand into. Those of you at larger companies are probably in charge of some specific portfolio. Maybe you're on the DoD side, the civilian side, maybe it's even more granular than that. Maybe you're just serving like one subset of DoD, for example. And so you want to limit the opportunities you're seeing to a certain subset of customers, NAICS and product service codes, even a set-aside status, or even a contract vehicle that you have purview over. And so you can do all those things as an individual. And what you can do is you can change all these criteria as you wish. We make the sort of default criteria transparent to you so you know what's going into this. But if you want to change things, you can. I can, just as an example, delete a couple things and save this as my personal new search. Now, you can't edit the company baseline at this time. That's going to be a future improvement. But as an individual, you can do whatever you want with your filter. You can set it as your default so that the next time you come here, that's what loads immediately. And again, in the near future, you're going to be able to set an alert on this. And the effect of that will be, remember, this is a feed. Things are always changing here. The data is getting updated on a daily basis. So if you want to know what are the latest opportunities, you can set an alert on this on your filter that's tailored to you. And then you will get an email that lets you know there are new opportunities. Here's what they are. Or maybe there's no new opportunities. We'll tell you that too, so that you know that you haven't missed anything. Let's see. The last thing I wanted to mention as well is just one more aspect of this filter that's actually pretty cool, which is that I can literally clear out all of the criteria in the filter and actually still get pretty good results because of the relevance score. So this is something that in the process of developing this, we realized, that to work without some way to sort of rank these opportunities. And so what we went with was not, okay, we're just going to rank it by value, or we're just going to rank it by, some other criteria that's a little bit more subjective. We want to go by relevance to your company, right? We want to look at your past wins and determine what is the character of those opportunities that you have won, and what looks like that. And the things that look most like that in terms of how close they are to your customers, NAICS and product service codes, your contract vehicles, your set-asides, all of the things that you would consider relevant, we're factoring into the relevance score. This is, I think, what Kevin was touching on earlier with sort of the, where we want to go with the thumbs up, thumbs down. So we want to, in future, enable you as an individual to affect the relevance score with your own preferences. So, I think that's most of what I had to talk about as far as the core functionality. Did you have anything else to add, Kevin?
I did. I have a few things I want to raise. So when Steve mentioned about the email alerts, right? So there are two different types. There's the track alert of the opportunity, where we're going to send you information about any opportunity and any update that comes along. Doesn't matter the source. But then there's the follow, what we call the follow alert. So if you set up a saved search here and you want to be notified, what we want to be unique about this is that in that email, you're going to see a list that looks remarkably like you would get here, and along with the capability that anything that new that matches your search will also have add the spark and follow. We'll also have ignore. So inside of your email, you're able to then immediately add a lead right from your email, add the lead to your spark object, or if you want to, thumbs down. And we think that is a really important part, especially for training. So as you see all these pieces come together, from an AI relevance capability, we want to be able to have this email workflow, this interaction on the site, and be able to tie it all together. So the email workflow winds up being pretty important. Some of you may know that in a previous role I did a lot of market intelligence work like this, and I found that a lot of people want to set it and forget it, right? They want to come here, they want to set up a search that really works for them, and then they don't come back, actually. We want a great experience here. We love a great experience. We love building tools, but I want to build a tool that's so useful and so reliable that you say, great, I'm just going to get my searches, I'm going to get my opportunities, and I don't have to come back and make tweaks unless I need to make something fundamentally different in a search. But what Steve was pointing out earlier, you come to this site, and it is a company profile for your company. As your company wins more work, the default changes. It's responsive to the market as well as your own preferences. So we're trying to make this as easy as possible to manage from a standpoint of you get a new user to come in. They don't have any preferences. My experience is if I have to onboard somebody who's a junior BD analyst, they don't know what they're doing with this. That they are not going to want to sign up. That it's really difficult to get somebody to come in and make this work. So we built it so you don't have to do that, so the onboarding is seamless. Like that's the part of the reason we've made design choices that might be very different from the market tools that you've seen is that we're prioritizing the ability for somebody who's brand new to come in and immediately see things. So, anything else you wanted to discuss?
Just one more thing.
Go ahead.
Just the last thing I wanted to touch on is, this is our initial version of this product. We are going to iterate on this, and one of the ways in which we're going to iterate on this is with your feedback. For those of you who already have this, I'd ask you to go into your growth instance, check it out, or come on over to the CX Lounge, talk to us, we can demo it to you. And we want to hear from you. I want to hear from you directly. I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear how relevant the opportunities are for you. We're going to make this even better than it is today. So, I think that's all. Thank you very much. Yeah, question. I can give you a business card in just a moment, sir. I'll pass you over a business card in just a moment. Okay. Any other questions? This is in your production now. If you are a TechnoMile growth customer, this is in production. Yep.
Amazon has an affinity engine that says if you like this, you may be interested in this. Do you have something like that as part of your search?
So not currently. That's where we're going, right? The idea is that you're going to be telling us thumbs up, thumbs down on opportunities, and so we want to be able to use those characteristics on the individual level to say, you liked these types of opportunities, we should serve you up more that look like that, even if it deviates a little bit from your company baseline. That is absolutely where we're going.
Slightly different answer. So some of you may have looked and you're like, okay, well, Steve showed you that we're looking at your past history and trying to figure out exactly how to make best recommendations for you. Well, you can use the coding that's in there, but as you know, we're building out this opportunity scraping capability where we're able to deep dive into the text, into the documents themselves. So we think about this in two ways. One is I want to be able to deliver really great information about opportunities with extractions from the opportunities, but we will also know, especially with our task order management, all these statements of work that your companies have won because we'll have them for you in there. So I'm able to get a much richer profile of your company because I can look at the statements of work of the opportunities that you've won, extract those capabilities, and match those against the new opportunities that have come in. It's not something we're doing right now, but you asked about this affinity engine. How would I go practically about doing this? Pass those statements of work into this engine that we're going to build, and then extract that capabilities, and then look for the new opportunities that come out. Pass those through the same engine, and then match up. This is not pie in the sky, but to do it at scale for the 1,000 SAM solicitations that come in, and for the 1,000 task order notices that are there everywhere, is a little bit of a larger challenge. And so that's exactly how we're approaching this. So it's an affinity engine, but targeted for our market. And our market is very specific about the sort of capabilities. This works. We've thought through this. This works for prime work, but a lot of our smaller customers are sub, and we're still trying to figure out how to identify the capabilities that they have and the best way to extract them. So this is all on our roadmap, but again, because of the nature of how our market works, there's some difficulties.
right there. So, Kevin, you want to take that?
Yeah, there's no single LLM that we choose. So we're using, as you might have seen earlier today, we use a open source model that we host in GovCloud. So we'll have, you saw on the list, on the slide, it said GPT 3.5, we have Llama, we have some other areas. Anything which we can actually pull, get a copy of, and put in our own environment to protect it, that's whatever's best in the market we're willing to use. So we're not going to lock ourselves down to any given LLM. The market is changing so quickly. It's foolish for us to be able to choose like that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I may have missed this, but we have such a huge, broad portfolio, and we would only be like out of all the things our company does, I'd only be looking for this. So how does it know? I mean, aside from the lights, are we tuning it somehow? I mean, because I only need that tiny, tiny sliver that hits my little tiny segment.
So that was what I covered earlier on the subject of sort of the advanced search. So remember, by default, we're going to show you everything that's relevant for your company. And to your point, sir, your company has a very broad, very, very broad capability set. What you can do is you can go into the advanced search and just neck that down to your specific preferences, and then save that as your default, so that you don't have to see everything. You can only see the things that you want to see. Yes, right there.
Can a system admin customize that even more? Like, let's say there's business units and this one's customized to,
Mm-hmm.
a specific customer group. Can a system admin say, hey, define this group and send it to this team, and this group send it to that team?
Not at this time, but that's an improvement we've already identified that has to happen, is sort of on the admin level, being able to customize the company profile as needed, right? Because this even goes back to what I was talking about with smaller businesses, where maybe the CEO wants to go in and say, we're going to target these NAICS codes, but right now there's no data that we've done anything on these NAICS codes, as an example. It's a good question. Yes.
I've used this GovSearch before, mostly to identify the incumbent for a recompete contract.
Mhm.
I haven't seen where you have the thumbs up to sparks growth opportunity. Is that something that we would have to configure to get working, or is it already there?
Why don't you swing by the CX Lounge? We can take a look at your specific instance.
Well, to be clear, it was released on October 28th. So if you haven't been in there very recently, then it hasn't been there. Yep. All right. I think our time is up for this session. So I have some instructions. Thank you all for attending the Lunch and Learn to learn more about exciting new capabilities about GovSearchAI. In 15 minutes, at 1:15, our 2 tracks, breakout sessions will begin. In this room, we'll be hosting Stellar Success Doing Business with NASA Trailblazers, one of our afternoon sessions designed for BD, capture, and other growth-oriented professionals. Concurrently, at 1:15 in the Regency Ballroom, you'll find the session Contracts, Your Secret Weapon for Risk Management and Strategic Success. That's one of our breakouts oriented to contracts professionals. During the break, please go to the CX Lounge to connect with Steve so he can show you more about potential opportunities or anything about our Transform Copilot and see our customer success and support teams, as well as our partner, RSM, who sponsored today's event. We're looking forward to a great afternoon of content in our breakout sessions beginning at 1:15.